was a small activity. Now in the chat box, I'm going to send you a link. Just give me a minute. Okay, you can click in the link or you can use my PowerPoint slide to scan the QR code. And then please help me to state 5 words related to reading or teaching reading. So let me show you what you can do. When you click in the link, there will appear something like this. Let me stop share. Just give me a moment. Okay, you will see something like this. State 5 words related to reading or teaching reading. Please help me to type the things here. The words here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here I just give you 4. I'm sorry, 4 words. So please help me to type 4 words related to reading or teaching reading that comes to your mind, and then click submit. Okay. Five words, please. Skimming. Oh yeah, vocabulary, scanning, gist, question, comprehension, summarizing. Keywords. Yes, I love the word keywords. We have scanning, time consuming, agree, comprehension, very important. Engaging for student, okay, well prepared for the pre-reading stage, okay. What do you mean more? Input, yes. What about the others? Quickly, please. Okay. I think that this is skimming, important. Challenging, okay. Reading is important. Reading is also challenging. Vocabularies play a crucial role in reading. Wonderful. Nice, okay. What else? The other, please, happy. I'm still waiting for you. Quickly, quickly. Any words that come to your mind? Okay. So, what else do we have here? My map. Okay. Title. Wonderful. Details. Yes. So, it can be seen from the screen here. The 3 most important words you present here is scanning, keywords, and skimming. Okay, so let's see, do they play the important role in designing the lesson plan for the reading lesson or not? So the focus of our webinar today is about how to design a reading lesson. Okay, and the presenter today, including me, my name is Bui Bich Huyen. Okay, not Bui Bich Diem Huyen. Okay, my name is Bui Bich Huyen. So usually people will call me Huyen Bui. I'm from International University, and my co-presenter today is Miss Hà Lê. Hello, Miss Hà. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Excuse me for the voice. It is a great opportunity for me to be here with Chị Huyen so that we can present you with this topic. I do believe that reading is really important, and that's why I register for this webinar. And I hope we got a good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Hà. Okay, so I will be in charge of the first part, and Miss Hà will be in charge of the second part. So we will go through some contents today. We will go through very quickly the definition of reading, review something related to bottom-up and top-down approaches in teaching reading, some kind of revision for the intensive and extensive reading, go through the principles for teaching reading. And the most important thing today we will focus on is the lesson plan. So in the lesson plan, we will concentrate on the learning outcomes and some suggested activity for the three main stages, pre, while, and post. Okay, so let's start with the first part, definition and key elements of reading. Just give me a moment, please. So again, I will send you the link. Let me explain the thing and then we start the activity. Just wait for me. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to join the breakout room to discuss and help me to tap the definition of reading. Phrase only. Okay, I don't need the full sentence, just the phrase. What do you understand is the definition of reading. And then what are the 4 key elements of reading? So as you can see from the bottom right here, you should click here. Okay, and there appears something like this. It can be the subject like from my computer, or it can be tựa đề if you use Vietnamese. So here, please help me to tap the name of the people in your group. For example, Hà, Huyền, Thư, for example. And then here, click here, write something. So please help me to tap the definition, blah, 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 blah. And then the 4 key elements, blah, 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 blah. Then if you still have time, you can choose the color you like here. For example, green, okay? If not, then just publish. So because of the time limit, we just have 3 minutes for the discussion. So please just tap the keywords and publish all of the discussion in this link, please. So don't worry, I am going to send you the QR code soon. So now I will delete the draft here and I will go back to our slide. Okay, just one person in the group help me to take note. That person is considered the secretary and we have 3 minutes to discuss together. Now I'm going to invite you to the breakout room. So I think we should go to 8. Well, give me 1 more minute. 7. Okay, please go to the room, please go to the room. Join your breakout room, please. Thank you. Join your breakout room, please. Bích Ngọc, hello. Okay. Hello, join your breakout room, please. Okay, I think I should move some of them to the other rooms. Thư với An đi vô nhắc mấy bạn discuss giúp giùm cô nha.
Dạ cô.
Ok, cô vô phòng cuối cùng nha, các bạn vô từ phòng đầu giúp cô ha.
Ok, mọi người có thể nói trao đổi với nhau bằng tiếng Việt cũng được để cho mình hiểu ý nhau rồi đánh trên cái pad này là bằng tiếng Anh, không có vấn đề gì đâu mọi người, quan trọng cái này mình chia sẻ nên mình phải thấu hiểu ý nhau. Mọi người cố gắng thảo luận nhé.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Miss Van Anh will be writing on the palette. Yes.
Try to write that. Okay, so let's just discuss about the definition of reading first. Okay. Hello các thầy cô, mình hãy discuss giúp em đi ạ. Hello everyone. Can you listen to me? Okay. Cô Tiên, cô Tuyết, cô Thư Đặng và cô Thanh Hằng. Hello everyone. Okay.
It's still not appeared.
Maybe we should wait a little bit more.
Hello, publish your answer, please. Oh, thank you. I see from Mai, Huyen, and Bích. Wonderful. The other, please. The other group. Just words are okay. Phrase are okay. I just see
Miss,
that you
can
discuss.
we work for 1 more minute because I haven't finished writing the answer.
Okay, just keywords, huh? We do not have lots of time, so just keywords.
Yes.
Thank you. The other group, please help me to publish. We do not need to write the full sentence. Okay, you are free to turn on your mic and then discuss with me when waiting for the secretary to publish the post of the group. So here I can see the first definition. That is the action that one reads through one written text to gather general or specific information. Wonderful. This is a kind of intensive reading or just for fun. Okay. What about the 4 key elements? 4 key points: vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, phonics. A particular interpretation of a text or situation. Okay. What about the other group, please? Okay. So we do not have lots of time, so we will come back to my slide. So to tell the truth, there should be many different kinds of definition related to reading. However, for the workshop today, I will base on the definition of Anderson and Noonan 2008. Reading is defined as the process of reader combining information from a text and their own background knowledge to build the meaning. And as you can see here, there are two elements already. What about the other two elements that contribute to the success of the reading process? So the other two elements is not vocabulary in this situation. The other two elements are fluency and strategy. So what does it mean, fluency? Anybody who knows, raise the hand. What does it mean, fluency? Speak smoothly. Hello, yeah, Thảo Vi.
Yes, Miss I. Yes, that is how many words, how many vocabularies in the text that the reader can understand.
Oh, so you talk about the number of words or you talk about the speed of reading?
Both of them.
Both of them. Okay, that is considered fluency. What about the others? Anybody else? Hello? Who's that person? Hello, Quốc Huy. Hello.
Hi, hello. I think fluency here is the level of how easy one reader travels along the lines of the book or any text. Sorry, I just stuck in the words. The level of ease when they move their eyes along the lines of the book or any reading materials.
Wonderful. Okay, so after the ease of reading, and then we can achieve the ability to read at the appropriate speed, or we say appropriate read with adequate comprehension. That's what we say, the ease of understanding the thing. Okay, wonderful. And strategy, all of us know about the strategy already. When we read, we need the strategy. When we listen, we read the strategy. So here they just want to focus on the ability to use not only one strategy, but a wide variety of reading strategy. For what? To accomplish a purpose of reading. Okay, so just the background information about reading and the key factor related to reading. Now, let's review the bottom-up and top-down approaches in reading. So, what do you know about bottom-up and top-down? Wait for me. Let me explain, and then you do the action. Now, I'm going to show you a picture. Okay. You see the picture? Okay. In the chat box now, individually, if the picture represents the bottom up, top one. If the picture represents the top down, top two. In the chat box, please, very easy, one or two. Two. I see two answers already. What about the other ones? Quickly, I'm waiting for you. One, two. Okay, we have one and then we have two. Continue, please. Continue. Two, thank you, coordinator. What about the others? Thảo Vi, where are your answers? Two. Some one, some two. Okay, thank you. Hello, Hoàng Linh. Hello, Hoàng Linh. I'm so happy to see you here. Why do you choose number two? Hello, Hoàng Linh. Can you turn on the mic and talk with me? Hoàng Linh?
Yes, Miss. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think number two because from the top down of the bird, you can see that there are lots of mountain and river, right? And yeah, as the reading, you need to come to the detail to get the information. I think so.
That's it. That's it. Okay. In fact, this picture represents the top-down processing, or we say the top-down approach. So as you can see here, what's this? This is the eagle. Okay. So from the great height like this, the eagle visions is so large. The eagle can see the whole terrain, the general pattern, and also the relationship between various parts of the terrain. So it represents the top-down process. Now, I am going to show you another picture that represents the bottom-up process. So, can you see the difference here? What is the difference? Who knows? Raise your hand, please, if you know the difference. Hello, Quốc Huy again.
Hi.
Hello. Yes.
Okay. I think that the bottom-up processing is more about from detail to the overall picture, and
okay.
whereas the top-down processing is the other way around.
Wonderful. Okay, so the boy here, what is he doing? He's examining the very tiny insect here. Maybe the insects. Okay, so it means that we start from a very small part, and then in order to understand the whole thing, we need to combine this small one with another small one, with another small one, with another small one. Okay, so let me summarize the thing through the diagram so that it is easier for you to understand. So I will start with the bottom-up approach first. So the bottom-up approach to reading will start with the knowledge of individual letters and sounds. However, it is for children. We do not teach children. So we will start, something wrong. We will start with the words and sounds because our learners, or I mean our students, can have the ability to understand the reading passage in L1 already. So I will start with the words and sounds, and then moving up to phrases or cohesive device, and then moving up to sentences, for example, paragraph, and then finally comes to the comprehension of the reading text. In contrast, the top-down approach will start with the reader background knowledge. So they start reading by the expectations of reading or making some prediction related to the content of the reading. And from their background knowledge, they use that to comprehend the reading passage. And that's why we say the bottom-up approach focus on linguistic features, while the top-down approach focus on the meaning, or we say the comprehension. And we use the reader's background knowledge to understand the meaning or the comprehension. Okay, so again, tap in the chat box, please. Which one is better? If bottom-up is better, tap 1. If top-down is better, tap 2. If it depends, tap 3. Also, tap the reasons why you think so. Okay. My Chu, I love you so much. You are so fast. Quốc Huy is fast too. Vân An, you are so fast. I see you with Ngọc. Okay. Thank you, coordinator. What about the others? Yes. What about the others? I'm waiting for you. Hello. Where are your answers? All of you choose number 3. Okay. My Chu. What is your name? I'm sorry.
My name is Mai. I mean,
Mai.
yeah, my given name is Mai, so you can call me Mai.
Okay, thank you, Mai. Okay. Can you mention your choice and then the reason why you choose that?
I think the answer to which one is better, the bottom down or the bottom up or the top down, is depend. I mean, it depends on the objectives of the task. So sometimes for some tasks, for some activities, we need to help the students to find detailed information. So the top down it's better. But sometimes we just need to find like the gist or the general information of the passage. So in that case, then the bottom up is better.
Okay, I agree. Okay, what about Huyen? Hello. Lê Thị Thu Huyen.
Hello.
Hello. Can you explain your reasons?
Yeah, like I just tapped on the chat box. I think that the way we approach to the top down or bottom up is also depends on the general information, the background of readers. Like if they already have the information about that one and they can give the prediction, we can use top down. So if they don't have any ideas for that, we have to like teach them from the beginning, and it's the bottom up.
Okay, I quite agree with you. Okay, and in other words, so we say each approach has two sides, advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so for the top down, the learners need to have the background knowledge. So in case they do not have enough background knowledge, so they will fail to understand the thing. The other thing related to the top down is that what will happen if your student do not have enough linguistic features? What I mean is the vocabulary, for example. They just have a very small sum of vocabulary and they need to read a long, difficult reading passage. So they cannot do that. Okay. Similarly, the bottom up will depend too much on the vocabulary, or I mean the linguistic feature. So if we just use bottom up all the time, we cannot develop the fluency in reading. Okay, because if they just need to combine vocabulary with vocabulary to understand, and then it takes so long time. So in our teaching depends on the level of the student, depends on the objective, or we say the learning outcome on that day, depends on the topic on that day, that we should integrate the bottom up and top down skill so that we can reach the goal of comprehension. Okay, so as the teacher, it is the up to choose the suitable approach for your student to apply on that lesson. Okay, now let's review something related to intensive and extensive reading. I will have a small activity for you. Here I designed the activity so that you can turn on the video or the camera and work together. However, it seems that you do not turn on the camera, so I changed a little bit. So please, can you see the reaction in your Zoom? Okay, can you help me to find out thumbs up in your reaction? Click on that, please. Thumbs up. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so can you see clap hands in your reaction? Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so now I will stop share so that I can see all of you. I will explain the thing for you. So in the chat box, I am going to send you a statement and I also read the statement for you. So if my statement is true, click the reaction thumb up. Okay. If the statement is false, click the reaction Okay, so let me start with the first draft. All people read for fun. Hello. Your reaction, please. Okay, Kim Thoa, Minh Châu, Nhật Anh, your reaction. Yeah, you. Hello, Tuyết Mai, Trọng Thủy. Hello. Yeah, okay. Most of you clap hands. Thank you. So, yes, we read for fun, but not all people read for fun. Okay, especially some of my students, they just come to read because they want to pass the test. Now, the other sentence, please. Let's see. Be concentrate. Yes, Cô Đam Sang. Reading helps improve concentration. 1, 2, 3, click. Ah, Linh Trang, you are so fast. Wonderful. Okay, yes. Reading really helps improve concentration. So this is just the example. Now we go to some statement related to intensive and extensive reading. Are you ready to start? Hello, are you ready to start? I hear nothing from you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, number 1. The reading passages in intensive reading is usually shorter than the reading passages in the extensive reading. True or false? The others, please. Hello. If true, so thumbs up. Okay. Bích Ngọc, hello. Can you explain the thing for me? Why do you choose false? Bích Ngọc, hello.
Yes, Miss, can you hear me?
Yep.
I think this one is false because it's not about the length of the text that we divide. That there are 2 types of learning: intensive and extensive. So I don't think that there are some extensive texts will be longer than the other one.
Okay, so but usually which one is longer? Usually, I just say usually. I just say often.
I think the extensive is usually longer, but it's not all the time.
Okay, so here my statement is usually. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so the answer is true. Okay, so it usually, only usually, often, not all the time. Now sentence number 2. Let me see. Give me a moment. Pay attention to my Haitian language. Most of the activities in class belong to extensive reading. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Thu Huyền, very fast. Sang, fast. Thảo Vi, fast. What about the others, please? Hello. Vân Anh, hello. Vân Anh.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. What is your choice?
I think it is false. So I clap hand.
So in class belong to? If it doesn't belong to extensive, so what does it belong to?
I think that most of the activities can belong to both extensive and intensive reading.
Okay, so I will give you the answer in my slide later. Just wait and see. Now, the key focus of intensive reading is for pleasure, fun, enjoyment, pleasure. Okay. Nice. So what is the key focus? If it is not for enjoyment, it is not for fun. Hello, Shan.
Comprehension.
Hello. Comprehension. Wonderful. Okay. So because of the time limits, I cannot give you many sentences to play together. So let me summarize the thing for you. Just review, you know and ready. In the intensive reading, we usually have shorter reading passage. And in the extensive reading, we will have longer reading passages. So I quite agree with Bích that it is not all the time, but I say usually, because usually extensive reading is for some kind of story, for example, narrative passages, for example. So it is usually longer so that we can understand the plot of the reading passage. Okay, the key thing here is that the focus of intensive reading is to teach reading skills, or we say comprehension, the vocabulary in the reading passage, and also some kind of phonological instruction. However, okay, so it will include the activities to develop comprehension and or a particular reading skill to test the comprehension. However, for extensive reading, we just focus on enjoyment and or learning new information while reading. But the first one is the more focused. That's why there should be no accountability required during the extensive reading. Okay, so in teaching, we should consider integrating intensive and extensive reading. In class, we will have our students to develop phonological instruction, key vocabulary, comprehension, or I say reading skill. Also, we can combine with the homework or the kind of project that asks your student to work individually or in groups to, have some more kind of extensive reading instruction with narrative text or exposition text. Okay, so let's wait until the end so that we can discuss more about this one, because Miss Hà will say something else related to extensive reading. Now, I just review a little bit related to intensive and extensive reading. Okay, now we will go to the principle of teaching readings. Because we do not have lots of time, so I will go through it very quickly. There are 8 principles that I want to mention today. The first one is what we see from the top down, that is exploit the reader background and knowledge, or we can say exploit the student's key method. In order to understand the reading passage, then students need the strong vocabulary base, so we need to build the strong vocabulary base. Also, the key thing in the reading is the meaning, or we say comprehension, so we have to teach our students about comprehension. Fluency is also one of the key elements in the reading process, so we also need to work on increasing reading rates. How can our students do some kind of reading task related to skimming or scanning? We need to teach them the reading strategies so that they can know the tips, they can know the way to do the reading passage or reading tasks. We have to encourage our students to transform the strategies into skills. So what's the difference between the strategies and the skills? Strategies is what the student learn, the way that the student will apply to do a kind of the reading test. But when it moves to the skills, it means that they do not need to think anymore. They can do it automatically. So our duty is try to motivate them to practice regularly so that they can transform the strategies into the automatic skills. Okay, number 7 is for teaching. That is view, assessment, and evaluation in your teaching. In any kind of skills, we need assessment and evaluation, and reading is similar. Finally, for us, the teacher, okay, we need to strive for continuous improvement as a reading teachers. So we will focus more on the students today with the 6 previous principles. So from these principles, I will move to the classroom techniques and tasks. And I will have one word for you so that it is easier for you to remember the classroom technique and task. That is the word active. So each letter here, A-C-T-I-V-E, represent a phrase. Should be the first letter of the verb in the phrase. For example, for letter E, that is principle number 7. So when we design the classroom technique and task, we should pay attention to evaluating the progress of the student. Okay, wait a minute. I will send you the principle so that it is easier for you to think of the technique and task. Okay, now please help me to think of the other phrases to describe the classroom techniques and tasks. What begin with letter A? What verb begin with letter C? What verb begin with letter T? What verb begin with letter I? And what verb begin with letter V? Help me to type the answer in the chat box, please. When you can think of any phrases, please help me to type in the chat box. A is for what? A is for what? Look at principle number 1. Look at principle number 1. And think of the task for that principle. Hello? Activate student schemata. Wonderful. Arouse what? Arouse what? Activates. Wonderful. But I also need the noun follow the verb to have the phrase. So wonderful. Activate student schemata. Arouse is wonderful too. So you can say arouse the student interest, for example. Okay. Now what about C? C. For principle number 2, it should start with C and U. Quickly. Anybody can think of? Wonderful, Mai. Okay, and Lin Jiang. Yes, cultivate vocabulary. Okay, amazing. Continue for T. T, go with number 3. Oh, very easy. Number 3. So also teach. Principle 3 is teach for comprehension. So we keep that. Now, number 4. Yes. Number 4, I. Principle number 4. Principle number 4. Principle number 4 about the reading rates. Increase reading rates. Yes. What about V? V. Principle number 5. Principle number 5. What verb go with the reading strategy? There. VA. Sorry, VE. It's my fault. We need a verb. VE. Can we use only one strategy? What should we do? Verify. Wonderful. Okay, yes. So we have the answer here and ready. Activate the schemata. Okay. Cultivate vocabulary. Teach for comprehension. Increase reading rates. Verify reading strategy. And finally, evaluate progress. Okay, so this is the classroom techniques and tasks that Nunant 2003 mentioned in his book about teaching reading. Okay, now we move to the most important part today about the lesson planning. So please help me to list any factor you should concern before planning the lesson. You can scan the QR code, please, or you can use the link that I sent to you. Any words? When you start planning the lesson, what factor should you consult? Prediction. What should we predict? Materials. Yes. Okay. Text length. Okay. We should consider about the time management, background knowledge of the student. Yes. The student level. Exactly. If we do not know the student level, we will choose the wrong strategy. Time management is crucial, especially in teaching high school. Predict the context. Okay. Nice. Activities. That's what we focus today. What else? Sub-skill. Okay, let's see. Wonderful. Okay. So, to tell the truth, when we plan the lesson, we should consider so many factors. Among them, we should remember the principles of teaching reading or the classroom techniques or tasks that I just mentioned to you with the verb, with the word active. We should pay attention to the student age because different age will have different characteristics. We will have different way of teaching for young learners, different ways of teaching for teenagers, and different way of teaching for adults. We should pay much attention to the student level of proficiency, the student schemata, or I say the prior knowledge, the theme of the lesson or the topic of the lesson on that day. The learning outcomes is so important. The student type of intelligence, or we can say characteristic, if they like to do some action in class, if they like to listen to music, if they like to play with the words in the paper, for example. The class size is also very important, and also the seating arrangement is something you should consult, okay? Also, the time management, or we say the lesson duration. If you have 2 periods for the very short reading passage, then we have to think of a variety of activities. But if we just have 45 minutes, and then we need to shorten the activities, okay? So here comes the I mean, a kind of sample templates that we should consider when we write the lesson plan. However, school will have different type of format. So just follow the format of your school. But we need to pay attention that in the lesson plan, at first, we need to pay attention to some general information, the things that we concern, okay? And then we must think of the learning outcomes. I mean, by the end of the lesson, students will be able to do what? This is extremely important because all of the activities or the tasks you design will focus on the learning outcomes. Okay, so the next part here in my sample lesson plan, I will talk about the learner's previous knowledge of the previous lesson, like regarding the linguistic, what did they learn, vocabulary about what, grammar point about what, for example, the context and the topic so that you can link the previous topic to the topic of the lesson today, for example. Okay, you should also note down the approach or the teaching method that you want to apply today and what type of teaching apps you use. Flashcards, for example, you can use some kind of interactive quiz, for example, PowerPoint slide, for example. So you need to note here. So for the teaching procedures, so there are various, type of teaching procedures. Like I just mentioned before, just follow the template that your school wants you to follow. But here in my lesson, I usually add the aims so that it reminds me of the learning outcome. Again, the teacher's activity means what the teacher do. If possible, we can write the script here. Student activities is what the student do. Okay, the content is what the student have to deal with, like what kind of vocabulary they are working with, what kind of, reading skill do they need to master here. Also, I usually put the key here. Grouping means this is the kind of whole class activity. It is a kind of individual work. It is a kind of pair work, or it is a kind of group work. And then for each activity here, I include the timing. So I usually start the lesson with reading, and then we divide it into different stages. For each stage, we write the name of the activity together with the timing, and also remember to wrap up the lesson and to assign the homework here. So if you have more questions related to this, you can contact me later because we do not have time to go through all of the things here. After that, as the teacher, you also need to think to anticipate some problems and the solution for your class. For example, in case that the student do the task so quickly, so what else should we do with those kind of students? Okay, so now let's move to the learning outcomes. Okay, so some revision about the Bloom taxonomy. And here I just want to mention the revised version. So when identify the learning outcome, we should follow the Bloom taxonomy, starting from the low level of just remember and understand the knowledge, then the higher level to apply the knowledge, and then to the higher level, you need to analyze something. Okay. After you analyze something, you jump to a higher level that you can evaluate something, like you evaluate the response from your friends, for example. And the top level here is create. Create means you can speak out, you can write down, you can make the sentences by yourself, you can present something by yourself. That is create. So we aim to motivate our student to jump to create level at the end of the reading lesson when we integrate that with speaking or writing. And Miss Ha will tell you more about this one. So from this one, I have the activity for you. As you know, now we are designing the reading lesson. So the key thing is vocabulary and comprehension. For comprehension, we will teach the student the reading strategies. However, sometimes we also need to deal with grammar. For example, if we do not teach them the simple past tense, they cannot understand the reading passage. So sometimes we also deal with grammar. But in most of the case, we will deal with vocabulary and reading strategy. So by the end of the lesson, what do we want our student can do with the vocabulary? Just remember the meaning of the vocabulary or apply the vocabulary in the fill in the blank sentence, or can create a sentence using the vocabulary. What do you want? Okay. Similarly, what reading strategy do you want your student to develop on that day? And then after the student read that type of reading passage, what else? What can they apply? What can they analyze? For example, what can they evaluate, or what can they create for that type of lesson? So let's work together and try to think of some kind of learning outcomes. Okay, you can scan the QR code here, or I will send you the link here. Okay, let me share the screen here for you. So here in the link, I include a reading passage for you. Okay, it is about festival and celebration. You see? So this reading is writes the name of the country next to the description of the celebration. And this one is just true, false. So what learning outcome can you identify for this lesson Now I will assign you to the breakout room again. Please help me just in 3 minutes. Tap any learning outcome that you want your student to achieve after this lesson. Okay, so let me set you to work together in the breakout room. I need to recreate. Go to your room, please. Go to your room, please. Go to your room. 3 minutes, please. Just one secretary, okay? Quickly, quickly. We are out of time already. I'm so
Mọi người có thể chúng ta bật loa lên để trao đổi mà. Hello everyone.
Chị ơi đủ hết chưa chị Thư? Em không biết là mỗi phòng có mấy người á, cho nên là vô cái phải đợi.
Cô assign á nên là mọi người cứ discuss thôi.
Dạ. Dạ rồi. Mọi người ơi, mọi người có nghĩ ra được cái learning outcomes gì chưa? Tại vì cái task á, em cần phải được coi lại cái task để em nhớ ra được nó là về cái gì, để mình kiểm tra coi là cái learning outcome nó là cái gì á. Chứ giờ em không nhớ gì hết trơn.
Tức là em cần xem lại cái link hồi nãy cô gửi hả hay sao?
Dạ đúng rồi, cái bài reading mà hồi nãy cô gửi á chị.
Ở trong link á, ở trong link bắt lệch của cô á. Rồi. Sao nữa? Từ
Chị gửi em với.
Ok. No problem.
Dạ rồi. Dạ rồi mọi người ơi, mọi người ID của mọi người là cái gì? Em trước nha, em nghĩ là thường á là reading, khi mà người ta đọc xong một bài reading á, thì là thường cái activity cuối cùng á là phải viết được. Người ta reading xong rồi sau đó thì người ta sẽ làm một cái bài writing nhỏ nhỏ dựa trên những cái từ và những cái cấu trúc ở trong cái bài mà mình vừa được đọc đó. Thì là mọi người thấy ok không? Nếu mà mọi người thấy ok thì em ghi vô.
Theo chị thấy thì cái căn bản của reading xong là cái gì? Là từ vựng đúng không? Đúc kết được từ vựng, rồi sau đó đúc kết ngữ pháp xong mới luyện tập sử dụng từ vựng đó với cấu trúc ngữ pháp nhìn thấy ở trong cái bài reading đó để làm cái thực tập bài viết, đúng không? Cái căn bản nhất mình đọc để làm cái gì đó là ý kiến thôi nha, chứ không phải câu trả lời nha. Là phải là mình đọc để mình lấy từ vựng, đúng không? Đúng không?
Hên xui tùy lúc, đúng không? Phải đọc để trả lời câu hỏi.
Vậy cái mục đích mà mình thông thường nhất đó là mình cho học sinh để làm gì? Cho nó đọc rồi nó đúc kết ngữ pháp, nó không có hiểu. Nhưng mà cuối cùng thì thể nào cũng sẽ có 1-2 bạn kêu cô ơi từ này nghĩa là cái gì?
Em thấy thường là cũng có vậy. Em thấy thường là những cái bài đầu tiên ở trong một cái unit là phải dạy từ vựng trước á chị Thư. Xong rồi cái phần reading nó sẽ nằm ở sau á. Cho nên thường là đối với lớp lớn thì em không biết, tại em không có dạy. Nhưng mà đối với những cái lớp nhỏ là những cái từ là người ta sẽ dạy tụi con từ trước. Người ta sẽ provide được cái input trước. Sau đó thì là mới bắt đầu làm bài đọc. Còn lớp lớn sao thì em không biết nha. Tại em không có dạy.
Vậy thì em ghi ý kiến đó của em vô đi để cô nhận xét, có sao đâu.
Vậy em ghi ý của hai chị em mình vô ha. Thứ nhất là hiểu được từ vựng. Thứ hai là ứng dụng được từ vựng ở trong bài đọc. Ok không? Học từ vựng mới, biết được từ vựng mới và hiểu được bài đọc. thông qua những từ vựng đã học. Ok chị ha.
Rồi, chị đi qua phòng khác nha.
Dạ rồi.
Thank you. Hello mọi người,
Yeah.
kết tới đâu rồi?
Hello. Chúng mình vừa mới chia sẻ một chút về cái learning outcome mà học sinh sẽ đạt được qua bài này. 3-4 ý rồi ạ.
Trời giỏi quá. Rồi nhớ publish nha, để cô thấy nhá.
Đúng rồi. Thế nên chúng mình phải viết vào palette đấy.
Phải biết là bác palette rồi mà.
Yeah.
Rồi, cảm ơn mọi người.
Cảm ơn bạn. Ok. Vừa rồi mình viết vào phần bình luận nên nó ghi là vô danh, nó không hiện ra các group ấy.
Đúng rồi. Mình để tên của mình vô, để chỉ ghi tên thôi, xong rồi gạch nối những cái người tiếp theo trong nhóm mình là được.
Việt Nam đáng yêu quá.
Rồi em đi phòng khác nha quý thầy cô.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so for the vocabulary.
Hello mọi người đã discuss tới đâu rồi? Hello. Ok. Không một ai trả lời. Hello anh Sang. Are you there? Hey.
Okay, the other group, please finish your task. Quickly, we are out of time already. I'm so sorry, Miss Hare. Okay, so as I mentioned before, that we need to build a strong vocabulary for students. And do we have any learning outcome related to vocabulary? Oh, yeah. You include my passage in your post too. Wonderful. Wow, you teach grammar too. Nice. In 45 minutes. Analyze the text, scanning, use skimming technique, understand the details based on keywords. Pick correct answer from the reading, understand the culture of the reading text. Okay, let me see. Analyze the text for what? Use skimming technique, understand the detail based on the keyword. Okay, so let's start with the vocabulary first. Okay, because we need to teach the key vocabulary to help our students understand or comprehend the reading text. So regarding the vocabulary, in just 45 minutes. So vocabulary cannot be the focus of the teaching on that day. Usually when we teach vocabulary separately, so we need to have our students to realize the meaning of the words, okay? We need to ask our students to apply that vocabulary in the context. For example, you do some kind of quiz with multiple choice, or you ask your student to fill in the blank. For example, in some situation, if we still have time, the learning outcome can be by the end of the lesson, student will be able to use the vocabulary in the suitable context, or I mean, to produce or to speak out sentences describing celebrations or festival using the vocabulary that they learn. Okay, so remember, when we write the learning outcome related to vocabulary, we cannot say understand the vocabulary. That is very general. Okay, what kind of vocabulary on that day do you want your student to realize the meaning? So the topic today is about festival and celebration. So maybe one of the learning outcome can be to, yes, you can say to understand, but then to realize the meaning of the vocabulary about what? Festival and celebration. Okay, if you have more time, then we'll be able to create sentences using the vocabulary about festival and celebration, for example. So it is about vocabulary. Now we move to the reading. So the focus of the reading is comprehension, and the focus of our reading comprehension in high school is the task, or we say the exercises. So we should have the student to develop the reading strategy on that day. So by the end of the lesson, student will be able to develop what type of strategy do you want to develop on that day? Strategy of skimming, strategy of skinning, for example. Here, for skimming, skimming is for the main idea. And in exercise 4, it is skimming. And what do they do with this task? Write the name of the festival. Okay. And what about for the exercise 5? This is the strategy of skinning. Focusing on what kind of task? Focusing on true, false statement. Okay, so those are about reading. But reading is not enough. If we just do the kind of task, it is not enough. In some situation, we need to motivate, to encourage our students to comprehend the whole reading passage. So we can ask our student to analyze the text again. For what? Create the mind map to summarize the content of the reading passage. For example, if you want to develop more, then for the post activity, we can think of the other kind of activity in a higher level, like to ask the student to work in group and then choose one festival or celebration that is famous around the world or famous in your country and present about that kind of festival or celebration. Okay, so we need to be specific in our learning outcome, from understand to apply to analyze, evaluate, and finally create. For evaluate here, in fact, you can ask the student to compare the answers in the while reading stage and then to evaluate the answers of the friends to see if they can choose the correct answer by showing the keywords or showing the reason why they choose that kind of responses. Okay, so let's move back to our slide. So now I go to the stages of the reading lesson. So we will start with the pre-reading, followed by while reading, and finally the post-reading. But before we teach them something, we need to arouse the interest. So a pre-reading usually starts with the lead-in activity. We lead in the topic, we introduce the topic, or we introduce the purpose of the reading. Then we can ask our students to make predictions. If you use the top-down approach, we need to present vocabulary, just key vocabulary. And sometimes, if necessary, we will present some grammar. We need to introduce the reading strategies, or we try to do something to explicit the strategies instruction. But we need to flexible in choosing the activity. So what do I mean flexible? For this lesson, you ask your student to predict. For another lesson, you will not ask your student to predict, but you organize the other activity, for example. Now, let's move to the leading activity. So there are some principles that we should pay attention in the leading activities. Leading is to arouse the interest. So it should be brief, okay? It should be relevant to the topic, to the theme, to the strategy. On that day, the student have to study. It should be authentic to the students so that they can have the interest to participate. It should be interesting so that they want to join the activity. And again, it should be student-centered so that they want to join your activity, so that you can achieve the purpose to arouse the interest of the student or to boost the atmosphere of the class. Okay, so from this principle, how many minutes is the time limit for the reading? It cannot be long because we just have 45 minutes for the whole lesson. So maximum for lead-in, please, 5 minutes. Okay, so another activity for you. Oh my gosh. Let's try. Now I'm going to show you some topics. Please help me to choose one topic and come back to your group and think of one leading activity for your class. Maximum 5 minutes. Huh? Okay, then I'm going to suggest some more activity for you. Okay, now let's go back to your breakout room.
Lâu Linh. Linh. Có nghe được chị nói không?
Dạ nghe.
Ủa nãy thấy anh Sang mà anh Sang đi đâu? Anh Sang chưa vô. Okay. Room 5. Okay. Em mở cái link đó chưa? Mở cái link của cô chưa?
Dạ rồi chị.
Ok. Rồi, đợi một số thầy cô khác. Why they not coming yet? Em có muốn chị move em qua phòng khác để discuss không? Tại vì chị thấy mấy thầy cô kia không có phản hồi thì mất thời gian của em. Chị move em qua room 1 nha.
Dạ, dạ.
Ok. Rồi.
you know, make a little bit of connection themselves. So they can choose one hobby that they want, and they can talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
So maybe we're gonna start with like having a video, like showing a video, okay?
Sure. For me, I would let them play charade. Like, for example, I would
Video about activities.
Yeah, leading activity.
Vâng Anh said show a short video. I agree. And for me, I would let them play charade.
Charade. Okay.
Yeah, charade.
So like you're gonna stick one thing, one note onto one student card, and then they have to go around and let others.
Em ghi vào được không? Tại vì
Vậy để em ghi lại nha con.
Như vậy hoạt động của mình chốt lại hoạt động của mình tức là trong xem video và yêu cầu các bạn viết ra ghi lại những cái hoạt động mà các bạn nhận ra đúng không?
Dạ. Những cái mà bạn nhận ra hoặc là những cái mà bạn nghe được.
Hello, I want to see your post, please. Just keyword, just keyword. Okay, thank you, Vi, Thúy, and Mai. Oh. Wonderful. I love your activity. Okay, how many minutes? Can you type the minutes there?
Maybe about around 3 minutes, miss, because the video I chose a video and it lasts for 1 minute and 50 seconds. But
Okay.
I will use around 1 minute to explain the activity and also demo one hobby in the video.
Wonderful. Okay, so how can you write, you ask them to write all of the hobbies in the video. So you deliver the paper and the marker to them and they have to write on the paper, or they have to take turn to go to the board and write the thing.
I'll divide them into 2 teams and then I'll give them a board, a small board.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they have to write all the hobbies that they hear, and the question for this activity is, what do you like to do?
Wonderful.
So
okay, so one more question for you. It is interesting. Now, so do you set the time limit for them, or which team finish first will win?
The activity will stop when the song stops. So when the song stops, they have to exchange the paper to the other team, so that the other team will have to mark which one is correct. They can watch, if they want, they can watch the video again, and while watching, they will marking the other team's paper. And how many, they will record the correct answers, and after that we will count how many correct answers which team
have more correct answer will be the winner.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. Now let's have a look at hobbies again for Vân Anh, Khôi, Trang, and Châu. Show a video about activity related to hobby. Some students describe their hobby using the body language, and others have to guess the activity. So you mean that there will be 2 activities, or one activity but divided into 2 rounds?
No, these are the 2 different activities.
Okay, so the first activity is rather similar to the previous group, or anything different about showing the video? How can you organize that activity?
I will search on YouTube some videos, and then I cut and mix them into one video.
And what do you organize the activity? So you show the video, and then what will the student do? Answer your question.
Before watching a video, I will give the student two questions. For example, how many sport events are there in the video? And the second question, they after that name them.
Okay. Yes. So it is a kind of individual work.
Yes.
So you show the video, you provide them what's the previous question, and then after watching the video, you will ask some student individually to answer the question.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, that is also one of the ways. Seems that you love video watching, huh? Okay, now let's see I do not know the authors of this group. Okay. So I will go to hobbies again, Hằng and Huy. Ask some students what to do in their free time. Wonderful. This is what we say personalized. Student will answer you when you ask them something they can answer. And it is one of the very effective way to encourage speaking in class. Okay. Show students some names of the hobby and ask them to write down as many as possible. How can you show the names? Hello, Hằng Huy. Hello, you use the flashcard? Or...
Yeah, we use some kind of flashcard in like.
So you take turn to show the flashcard?
Yeah. I show on the picture, glue it on the board, and students look at it, like they can enhance more vocabulary beside what they talking about their free time. And after that, they will write down as much as they many as they can about their vocabulary.
Okay, amazing. Okay, I really like activity number 3, slap the board. Okay, even when I am a learner or when I am a teacher, I love this one a lot. So you mean in number 3, do you mean that you will stick on the board some kind of flashcard, and then the student have to go to the board and then slap the one that you read or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, so you will read the name of the activity, or you will do something else? Just the name.
Language, right? Maybe language. Just a cue for them to come to the board as fast as they can.
Oh, that's interesting, huh? Okay, nice. Another group say use the dice to play the game, divide the class into 2 teams, set the time. Okay, set the time is very important. Students throw the dice and then write one activity on the board. Okay, this one is really, really interesting and have to build the vocabulary. This also help the teacher to know the vocabulary background of the students related to the topic that we teach on that day. Okay, wonderful. Guessing Vietnamese festival. Divide students into 2 groups. Each member take turns and come to the board, write out the answer from the clue given by the teacher. And it should be linked to the topic. Okay, wonderful. Okay, you are wonderful teachers. Now I just share you some more activity. But before I share you some more activity, I want to remind you that in the reading, we can use picture or images, okay, or what you say flashcard, or we can show that on the PowerPoint slides. We can use words like you just mentioned. We can use also realia, okay? We can use audio track, video track, or video clip that you just mentioned. We can ask them to play some vocabulary games. We can ask them to play some interactive games. We can also organize some kind of knowledge quiz, or you can give them some question related to the topic and ask them. So the question related to the topic, or some kind of personalized question that your friends just mentioned or suggested in our activity. So regarding the festival topic, okay, I just show you one sample for using the picture. Like in my class, I will show them 2 pictures. And then I will ask them 2 questions. The first one, where is it? The second one, what is happening in the picture? Where is it? Picture 1 on the left. Everybody? Where is it?
Sydney.
Okay, yes,
Maybe in
okay.
Sydney.
And what is happening here?
Fireworks.
Australia.
Okay. On what occasion do we see this one?
New Year.
Maybe New Year, wonderful. Okay, what about the second one? Very easy for the second one. We see the
Vietnam.
already. Yes. Okay. And what is happening here?
Flower.
Oh, yes. So they are all about celebration and festival. So I lead to the topic that we are teaching on that day about festival or celebration. Or also, I have similar idea with some of the group here that I will show the video clip and then I ask them what they can remember from the clip. I will not allow them to use any pen or pencil, but they have to remember. Whenever I allow them, then they will write down the words. Okay. So there are many ways for you to ask the student to write down the work. It can be individual work, or it can be the competition by peer work or group work. Okay. So to save the time, I will not show that, but you understand the thing already. No, I just showed that very shortly. This is about the Holi Festival. Okay, some kind of, video clip that is very short, but include the information that we want the student to focus on. Or we can ask the student to play hot seats. We will divide the class into some teams, like 2 teams. And then for each team, there should be 1 representative. They will come here, come to the front of the class, and they have to look at their friends, okay? So they cannot see the picture that I showed on the screen, or maybe if in your class there is no slide, so you can use the flashcard, you stand behind them, you show the picture, only picture, and then the other members of the team have to use the language to describe what kind of activity is that. I will not say that this will be about sport, but I will ask them, what are they doing? Okay, after they play the games, I will lead to the topic today is about sport, or maybe sport is something very general. I will lead to another specific topic that is unusual sport. Okay, we can also use the picture for another kind of activity, like you can ask the student A and student B. You give student A 1 minute to ask as many questions as possible related to the question, and then similarly for student B, and then we will take turn so that they can have a look at the picture very carefully, try to ask the question. So who can ask more questions will win the game, and there should be some bonus or some candy, some sticker for them. Okay, encourage speaking at the beginning of the lesson. Okay, you can also do the kind of activity that your friends just mentioned with the flashcard, that we show the flashcard for the student. Okay, and we do not allow the student to write down the thing, but they have to remember all of the picture that we show. After we finish showing the picture, then students have to write all of the names of the animals appear in the picture. Okay, everybody, can you guess what is the topic of the pictures I just showed to you? Everybody? Hello? Animals? Is it just about animals?
Endangered animals.
Endangered animals. Wonderful. There should be some kind of challenging thing like that. Okay, nice. we can also use some kind of audio track like this. You can play the audio file and ask your student to guess. Okay, what sounds is this? Please help me to type in the chat box. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I forget. I will share the sound. It's my fault. Okay, again. Easy. Easy. What sound is that? Horse, okay, thank you. Another one.
Tiger.
Tiger. Tiger is the correct answer, okay.
Elephant.
Elephant, okay, something like that. And there should be some other kinds of endangered animals here. So if you do not want to use the picture, you can also use the video clip, or you can use the audio track if you like to vary your activities. Okay, you can also use the words like your friend just mentioned in our activity to ask your student to guess the topic of the lesson on that day. Also, you can ask them to, take turn to work to know the vocabulary background. Like here, I show the picture and I ask them to write down as many words as possible about the picture that they can think of. And I give them 1 minute to write. After 1 minute, pass the paper to the person next to them. And then I give 1 more minute for them to write. And then I give 1 more minute for another person to write. Finally, they bring the paper back to them and they will see what can their friends add to them to, enrich their vocabulary. Okay. Also here is what I said earlier. So I bring this thing to the class. I put inside a bag and then I will divide the class into 2 teams. I will ask them to, touch the thing in the bag and they try to describe for the team to know what they are describing. So if they can realize the name, so that team will win on that turn and then we count for the final score. This is what I said earlier. Okay, we can also do some kind of knowledge quiz or vocabulary quiz like using Kahoot, Quizlet, quizzes, or poem everywhere. Okay, so remember, lead-in activity should be the first activity to arouse the student interest, to create the excitement in your class. So it should be your routine in the class. However, if you repeat one activity day by day, it will be very boring. So you need to bring the surprise factor in the class by choosing the variety of activity for each lesson. Now for the prediction in the pre-reading stage, we can ask the student to predict based on the illustration, the title, the heading or subheading, the vocabulary, or even the true false question. It is one of the popular way to ask your student to do for the reading passage, that is filling the KWL chart. K means what I already know about the topic. 5, unusual sport. What I want to know when I read the title here together, what's the subtitle here, and then the picture here. Ask them to note down, and then they will put it away. After the lesson, we will ask them to bring that paper again, and then note down what I learned. After they read this one, what they learned. Okay, we can provide them some kind of true false statement, like I just do to you about intensive and extensive reading. So we should be flexible in the prediction activity, and it is usually effective for rather higher level. Okay, when we present the new vocabulary, remember that we just choose the keyword So we focus on the meaning, we focus on the pronunciation, the part of speech, the family words, the synonyms, and antonyms. We can use image, realia, gesture, and for a higher level, use the context to present the vocabulary. Sometimes when we need to present grammar points, so consider which one is better for you, deductive or inductive. Consider the time management to choose the most suitable way for you. Time management and your student learning style too. Okay, now for the strategy, because I do not have any more time, I have to leave the next section for Miss Ha, so I will go through this very quickly. We will have to present the strategy to our student. So it depends on each teacher. Then again, we can choose the deductive way or the inductive way. But in my class, I prefer the inductive way. What I mean is that I will take some statement like the example, and I will ask my student to work. They are free to work, volunteer to give the answer. For example, for this one, the answer should be words. And then I will show them the things step by step. That here they have to underline the keywords here. They see the word pinata, so they have to scan the things here for the word pinata. And then they will read the paragraph more carefully to figure out if they have flowers or other things inside the pinata. So if it is false, they have to write the sentence again. So one example for false sentence, another example for true sentence. Okay, then I will ask the student to tell their own strategy to do. Okay, if they cannot say, so I will have them. But if they can say, it is wonderful because we can elicit the answer from themselves. Like they have to underline the keywords in the statement, locate the keyword in the reading passage, read the part of the passage containing the keywords carefully, and then compare the meaning of the keyword in the statement and in the reading text. If they have the similar meaning, so write choose. If they have the opposite meaning, so write false. Okay, so those are everything about the pre-reading stage that I shared to you today. I'm so sorry that it takes too long. And now let's move to Miss Ha part. Hello, Ha. Are you still here?
Hi there.
Okay.
Hi there, yes. My
Okay.
voice is not improving at all.
So sorry, I will make you host now.
All right. Thank you very much. I should try to share my screen just like this one. Yes. Share. And have just a second to put it on presenting mode. Okay. I think this is the one. Right. So thank you very much for very informative presentation earlier. So for my part, I'm going to go directly to some kind of like, like real classroom practices that I found practical, and I could apply it for myself. And also, some more talk about like, and I'm going to continue the procedure of what we should do next on while reading and then post reading. So yes, let's move on to while reading. But let me have a question for the audience. Anyone here play any kind of sport?
Before my answer, Miss Ha, you're in the presenter mode, so you're So, I mean the presenter mode of the PowerPoint, so it's quite small. The screen is quite small.
Oh, you're supposed to see the big one, and this one is supposed to be like my private see. Is it? What? Okay, what should I do? Stop share. Is that? And should I have something else? Share. Is it the one? Have you So are you looking at the, the big screen right now already? Hopefully.
Not yet. I haven't received any.
Still no. Right. Then what is that? This one. Share. Okay. You are looking at this slide, but I'm putting it on presenting mode. Right. So what are you looking at by now then?
We still see the big one and the small one. So we
which is kind of okay, I hope.
maybe you should go to the slideshow.
Is it slideshow? Which is this one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But then you still see the presenter mode. How come? This one, share. Is it now like what you are looking at the big screen share?
Your slideshow is on the top. You can see
on the chat. Okay, I have no idea. I should log in. Is that?
How about you try to stop share, like end the show first.
Right.
End the show first.
Already, yes. End the show.
Share. And then in the bar, in the top bar, there must be one button called slideshow. And then it will have
in the top bar. Okay, I'm trying to look at
like home, insert, drawer, design, transition, animation, slideshow. Did you see that?
Option and just okay. So here is what is this one? Okay, so I should first share my PowerPoint.
Okay.
Is it true? I should first share my PowerPoint. Just this one. Okay, share. All right. And then on the top.
Okay, it's okay.
This one. But it's not the presenting mode. But can I just put it this way?
Yeah, it works. It works. So,
it's not the presenting. But then if
and this slideshow as usual, and I think I figured it out.
All right. But if you find this one like clear enough for you guys to see the content, then I could just put it this way. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, back to my question. Anyone like to play or practice any sport kind of regularly? Anyone?
I love swimming.
Can you like recall how did you learn to swim? Do you take any lesson or just some kind of like to just do it?
I did, but then I still didn't know how to swim.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You took some. Oh, that's
then one day,
what you just
but then
did.
one day when I jump, I don't know, when I moved to Taiwan, and then one day I jumped to the pool and then I start to be able to swim. I don't know why.
Oh, and just that. Right, lovely. I think that is something in learning. We call it learning is emergent. What is that? It's something like in our Buddhism as well. Trong khái niệm của Phật giáo mình có cái khái niệm là khởi nguyên, đúng không ạ? Thì trong học learning chúng ta cũng có khái niệm đấy ạ. Kiểu mình cứ học hoài xong mãi cảm giác là không có làm được, xong tự dưng đùng phát một ngày. Thì cái khái niệm là emergent learning tức là khi mà hội đủ tất cả các yếu tố về cả kiến thức, về cả kỹ năng, và có khi cần phải là context. Ở Việt Nam bơi không được nhưng mà sang Taiwan thì bơi được ha. Thế thì tự dưng một ngày nào đó thì mình làm được. Không biết là các bạn nào học chơi một cái môn gì khác không ta? Muốn sharing không ạ? Nhớ lại xem là ngày xưa mình học chơi thể thao như thế nào. Ngày xưa mình cũng phải đi học bơi ạ. Và mình không có tự nhiên mà bơi được, mà cũng phải đi học lớp, học thầy. Thầy đó dạy hai chị em mình. Và đầu tiên là thầy sẽ bắt ở trên bờ khởi động, xong rồi sẽ làm các động tác, rồi đấy là bắt học bơi ắt trước, xong rồi bắt làm các động tác ở trên bờ, xong bắt đầu thầy mới đưa xuống nước. Xong lúc đầu là mình có bơi cùng với cả phao, có phao và thầy kè bên cạnh thầy đỡ. Xong rồi một ngày đẹp trời mình vẫn sợ, thầy đẩy một phát từ trên bờ xuống dưới nước. Thế là rồi ngóp thầy ở trên thì vẫn hô xuống, đúng không ạ? Tập trung hít thở, tay như thế nào, chân như thế nào. Rồi thế thì các môn thể thao mình học, mình nghĩ là cái việc học nói chung, ở đây là mình đang đưa ra một ví dụ về các môn thể thao, thì thực ra là nó dễ nhìn, nó dễ hình dung hơn, nhưng mà bao giờ chúng ta cũng sẽ bắt đầu bằng một cái việc là mình sẽ được nghe giải thích về chúng ta là nên làm như thế nào, tại sao là phải học cái môn đó. Thế xong rồi chúng ta sẽ có cái bước tiếp theo là chúng ta thường sẽ nghe modeling, chúng ta sẽ nhìn nghe thầy giáo và cô giáo model là mẫu, xem là nếu mà chuẩn là như thế nào. Và sau đó thì sẽ hướng dẫn, thầy cô sẽ hướng dẫn đó, nên làm như thế này, nên làm thế kia, tay đặt ở đâu, chân đặt ở đâu. Mình đi dạy tiếng Anh thì là kiểu răng môi lưỡi cứ đặt như thế nào, đúng không ạ? Đặt vị trí phát âm ra làm sao, đọc thì đọc cái gì trước, đọc title trước, xong rồi đọc subtitle, xong rồi đọc câu hỏi hay là đọc bài đọc cái gì trước. Rồi sau khi là hướng dẫn xong thì chúng ta bắt đầu luyện tập ạ. Và như mà mình thấy ở đây luyện tập là mình thấy là đây là các bạn học viên, đúng không ạ? Và 3, 4, 5, 6 bạn này đang luyện tập cùng với nhau. Luyện tập cùng với nhau. Nhìn của chúng ta có thể là có sự hướng dẫn của coach, của người giáo viên, cũng có thể là chúng ta sẽ có bạn nhìn bạn để làm, hoặc là có bạn sửa giùm mình. Cuối cùng khi mà đã ổn rồi thì cái mục tiêu cuối cùng đó là chúng ta tự làm được. Đó. Chúng ta có coach, có giáo viên nhưng mà đứng ở xa, đứng nhìn thôi, và hướng dẫn, gọi là hết cổ vũ, đưa ra những cái lời chỉ dẫn nhưng mà ở bên ngoài. Còn mình, chúng ta muốn chơi thể thao thì chúng ta phải tự mình làm cái việc đó. Rồi và đây là có coach ở bên cạnh, đúng không ạ? Và nhưng mà ngoài cái thời gian này ra thì các bạn ấy cũng phải tự mình một mình thôi luyện tập cái môn thể thao đó để mình có thể nhuần nhuyễn nó. Ok, thì mình dẫn từ cái phần này sang cái này. Mục đích của mình muốn nói đó chính là cái việc học nói chung. Chúng ta cũng có một cái procedure khá là tương tự. But I think I should just switch into English maybe. So this one is a basic procedure that I find that we should do for intensive reading practice. So this is like the context here is going to be intensive reading practice, which is something like a really classroom context, like you having a reading text and then you have comprehension question. Right? Usually it's going to be like true false, or like fill in the blank, or like ABCD multiple choice. And this one is somehow like test oriented. We do the reading, we do the question, and then we prepare for the test. And then how we should do it. Then I would start with strategy discussion. So it's going to be on skimming, scanning, reading for detail, making prediction. What skill, what strategy we should apply, and why we should do it, and then how we should do it. And that is kind of like strategy discussion. Then we will do something about like teacher modeling, that they should be able to see what the student should be able to see what they're supposed to do. So it is about teacher modeling. And then moving on to student by doing some practice. So this can be individual, they can read by themselves, or for lower level student, then I'm going to encourage a group reading so that they can get help from their friends, with some friends like peers with better reading skill, then they can help the lower level one. So they can read in group, they can read in pair, they can read by themselves. So they're done with the reading, answering all the questions. And for the next stage, it could be analyze the strategies that we discussed already earlier. And then we analyze like how they use that strategy in the reading process. And the key word here that I highlight would be thinking aloud, which is like they could say, verbalized what they have done, what they're thinking in their head, because like reading is something you know, like we should do like really cognitively attention, to pay attention in it. So it is not just like at the beginning level, then they should be conscious about what they do, what they read first, what they do next, what kind of thinking they should have, and how they can find the answer. But then if they just like thinking in their head, then we teachers, we don't know. We cannot know like where they might go wrong. So that is why we would ask them the question like, how can you find the answer? So like looking at the question, and we will locate the keywords, and then we would find the keyword in the paragraph. What paragraph? So A, B, C, D, E, F. So the paragraph B, for example, and then we would find which sentence in paragraph B where we can find the answer. So step by step, we should encourage students speak it out, so that they can hear them thinking, right? And that is a process of like the thoughts in the head can be messy, but when they speak it out loud and maybe explain it to their peer, then the student, they somehow have to organize the thought a little bit, and then they know what they should, and what kind of thinking that strategy that they should follow. So thinking aloud, it is good for the student, and it is also good for us as teachers to, you know what's going on in their head, and that is for the purpose is to answer the question, get the correct answer. Yeah. Finally, we are going to, at the end, we might have a bit of explanation, a discussion of like each strategy that we had earlier. I see what works and how we can make it better next time. Which skill work well and which skill not, and like we got scanning, skimming, reading for details, and making prediction, right? But then how to like actually apply those skills in the reading, then we can have like more explanation. And then so this cycle we just go over and over, and we kind of like cut it off once you see that the student get the point and be able to do it by themselves. Then for example, for the next okay, so lesson one for reading, you have to follow all the 5 steps. But when the students start to get it, then in lesson number 5, you will cut off the picture modeling.
Chị ơi, đang unmute.
Unmute. Ok, sorry. Mọi người ơi, không biết là từ vừa nãy là mình đã dừng lại ở đâu rồi ta?
You stop at lesson 5. You can cut off teacher modeling.
Oh, yeah, right. So that part, it is kind of like we just cut off the support they have from the teachers, and then the final goal is that the student can do it by themselves. Yes. So we go back to the playing sport things here. So we have them like hands-on, like really correct every move, every mistake, but that is at the beginning stage. And once they know which one is right, which one is correct, then the final product, like the goal should be like the student can do it by themselves. This is our goal. I would just want to focus on the strategy here a little bit, because we have practice, but how much practice is enough, right? So we got something called deliberate practice, which means like we practice in conscious. We just don't do it. We don't just do one thing over and over and over again without thinking about it. But then if we, like player A, might do 200 practice shot per hour, but then you just like do it without analyze the strategy or analyze the mistake, or like looking at himself in the mirror, maybe looking at the way the body, the hip, the legs move, then he would repeat the mistake over and over again. But then if he sit down paying attention with the help of the coach, with the help of the teacher, pointing out where is the mistake and why they might go wrong, then maybe for just 50 practice shots per hour, then he can get it to the goal. He might having some leisure time, chit chat time, refresh the mind, having enjoyable moments, talking to the peers, like talking about like friends, how do they do it, how do they do it better than you guys, and then breaks, just having a relaxed mind, and then they can just get the goal by doing the practice in a shorter amount of time, but then more conscious and more mindfulness. Okay. My next point could be, okay, so I would just come back. So this procedure, again, it is for intensive reading practice, which is kind of like exam-like format. But then I would highly recommend we just have a break out of the exam-like reading. And we moving on to we add on, not just moving on, we have intensive reading. Yes, it is important, but then we also add on some collaborative reading activities. So the reason is that first, we need variations and engagement besides classroom routine. Routine is important. Like everyday routine is what defines us as a person. So be able to do something over and over again until it becomes a skill, until it becomes like a part of ourselves is super important. But we need variation and engagement to refresh the mind, to have something for change, to boost up the energy. And also it is going to like some kind of feel good moment. It might not have much for the cognitive development, but student feeling good, then they could feel excited, they enjoy the lesson more. It's also about some confidence, showing some for students who have weaker reading skill, then they being able to, using other skill for compensation, like they use like body language or like having fun, making fun, then they would feel good and confident in the class. How we can do that? We teachers, we have to do some arrangement of table and chair, maybe some more preparation time, maybe a lot of planning and management skill involving here. But also we should be we should be ready to allow free movement, and that student gonna make noise and they get excited and then they get crazy and something go out of control. We should be prepared for that. Something that we could do, I'm not going to go into details into this one because we don't have time. I can send you some materials as well, but some activity can be like reading relay. It's kind of like, like the sport, like one student having a piece of information, they sort it out and then they move it to the next student. It can be reading jigsaw, and they have to put things together. Scavenger hunt, when they have to just go around the classroom or maybe the school, if you can organize that, to find the answer, not just sit down at the table and the chair. So this one is just a picture of my classes doing scavenger hunt. Then I would give them 10 questions in a piece of paper, and then the information I would just scatter it around the classroom, and they have just to stand up and move just to find the answer, and they can work with friends. This is like teamwork kind of thing, right? And then so it just free practice. They can ask questions, ask friends, and just go around. Whatever they do, then they just need to find the answer. It creates kind of like fun, like exciting mood in the class, like for many lessons of intensive reading, hard work. Then one collaborative reading activity for the lesson can like change the mood of the class and bring some kind of surprise for the classroom. Okay. One more thing that we can do for while reading, and I highly recommend this because it is beneficial for the student. The reason is that test is only for classroom and school, but learning and schooling are two different things. And in real life, I do hope that my student will read after the like 12 years or 16 years of learning. Like outside the classroom, I do hope that my student will still do some reading. So this one is like drawing a mind map, reading, and then drawing a mind map by themselves, right? The key is that there is no question. And yes, in real life, there is no question for them. They have to ask themselves the question and then take notes and then organize the information in some kind of visual way. So they can just draw it with pen and paper, or if they are like, they are all digital native, yes, with computers and the easy app, they can draw this one like this, like super easy. Well, for academic text, something we can teach them is called the text structure. Where can I just type it? This one, teach student about text structures. So anyone have heard of this one before? Text structure. So it's like all kind of non-fiction reading are organized in some way, and only 5 ways. So it's gonna be problem and solution, timeline order, cause and effect, and it should be a step-by-step procedure, or it's gonna be argumentative. That's it. All the non-fiction reading is gonna be organized in a logical way. And there are like 90% of the time, it's gonna be among the 5 types of text structure. That's it. And then so they are gonna identify how the reading passage is organized, and then they are gonna draw some kind of mind map in order to transfer the information in the reading into another format. Okay, so at the beginning, we can draw it for them and just design some gap fill exercises. But then the goal is that later on, they can draw it themselves. So this is something that we can do for while reading, which is like super beneficial for them, and especially on a higher level of learning, which is like really helpful. And then that is for the while reading. I would summarize it for the first one. We have a routine of procedure for intensive reading. The second one, we do it for a change, collaborative, and then finally we do it in another form of the media. And this one super important. I would say like a lot of students, they can do the question ABCD multiple choice. They can do it, but they were like, I don't know why I can find the answer. I got the correct answer, but I have no idea why. So these, like being able to draw the mind map like this by themselves, is like something for like make sure that they actually like really understand the text. So moving on to the last one, which is about post reading. What should we do after that? One practical thing that we teachers can do in class is analytical reading, or we can call it text mining. So actually we got only 45 minutes. Yeah, like if we be real to each other, then the analytical, then the post reading, we have 5 minutes 10 minutes. We don't have much time. So if we be real to each other, then this is the only thing that kind of like practical, real things we can do. We analyze the text for new vocabulary and for grammar. Just 1 point for each lesson, just 1 point is good enough. Or the vocabulary, maybe 5 or 7 words. We do have vocabulary at the beginning, yeah. But then at the end, the vocabulary here can be something, collocation, some kind of lexical chunks that we should draw the attention of the student on. So vocabulary is super important. I think that one audience already asked me a question about how to push student learning more vocabulary. Okay, mình sẽ chuyển sang tiếng Việt đoạn này một chút xíu, tại vì mình nghĩ cái đoạn vocabulary là cực kỳ quan trọng nên là mình muốn clear đoạn này. Một là mình không thể nào mà push student được. Nếu mà đã push rồi thì trừ phi là kiểu mình sống cùng nhà với bạn ấy quá, chỉ có con mình mới push được thôi, chứ còn thì push các bạn ấy, mình dạy các bạn ấy một tuần được 3 tiết hay 9 tiết, mình còn những cái thời gian còn lại ở bên ngoài thì mình không thể control được. Thành ra là cái việc mà mình push học sinh, đơn giản là chúng ta hãy không làm việc đó luôn đi, chúng ta nghĩ cách khác đi, thì có thể là tìm ra được giải pháp. Thì cái việc mà dạy vocabulary này, cá nhân mình vô cùng quan trọng, mình thấy là cực kỳ quan trọng luôn. Cá nhân mình thì một là mình sẽ luôn có vocabulary check, hoặc là check luôn ạ, check chứ không phải là introduce. Vocab check ở đầu tất cả các buổi học 5 phút thôi, nhưng mà cái đó là để draw các bạn ấy là vocab là quan trọng, cô check và các em phải học. Đấy là cái cơ bản, thì cái đấy cũng có thể là một cái gọi là bắt buộc, nhưng mà có một nhưng mà để mà gọi là nó bền vững hơn thì chúng ta sẽ có các cách dạy vocab, gọi là đưa cá nhân hóa vào, kể các câu chuyện liên quan tới cái từ vựng đó để các bạn nhớ. Dạy vocab bằng các cụm lexical chunks. Nó giống như là mình sẽ không dạy từ effect là ảnh hưởng, đúng không ạ? Mình sẽ không dạy từ effect riêng, và mình sẽ gom vào thành một cụm là exert an effect. Mình bắt học nguyên cả một cái cụm đấy, exert an effect, exert an effect, exert an effect. Đã dùng cái từ effect là phải dùng nguyên cái cụm đó chẳng hạn. Đó, thì có những cái cách để mà dạy vocabulary, mình nhấn mạnh là độ quan trọng, mình kiểm tra thường xuyên để các bạn ấy phải đọc, và mình nhắc nhở với các bạn ấy học. Thì về vocab thì có một cái kỹ thuật để học, nó là space repetition, đúng không ạ? Thì về cái lý thuyết thì mình sẽ có là, thực ra là ví dụ hôm nay thứ 3 mình dạy các bạn ấy, nhưng mà đến tận thứ 5 mình mới có tiết, đúng không ạ? Hoặc là có khi là đến tận thứ 3 tuần sau mình mới có tiết. Thế thì 6 ngày còn lại là các bạn ấy không học hả? Vậy thì làm sao mà nhớ được, đúng không ạ? Tụi mình sẽ bảo là hôm nay thứ 3 mình dạy, xong thứ 7, thứ 6 mình check, các bạn ấy quên. Thì chắc chắn là quên rồi, không thể nào mà nhớ được nếu mà các bạn ở nhà bạn ấy không học. Thì cái space repetition, cái lý thuyết của nó là chúng ta sẽ có hôm nay mình dạy, thứ 3 mình dạy, nhưng thứ 4 các bạn nhất định là phải học lại, chứ không thì cái não bộ mình sẽ quên. Rồi, I might just create a new slide here because I want to just share this one with you guys. Is that? Oh, I don't have it. Okay, my bad. But anyway, okay, just a second. I think this one is important, so I should share this one with you. Wait, is this one? No. Oh, this one. Okay. Rồi, space repetition for long-term memory. Đây là cái ngày chúng ta học, phải không ạ? Đây là ngày chúng ta giới thiệu cái từ mới. Hôm nay thứ 3 dạy từ mới, thì cái ngày review đầu tiên nó phải là ngay sau ngày học, tức là ngày mai là thứ 4, và thứ 4 mình không có tiết, nên mình không dạy các bạn ấy không học, thế thì các bạn ấy quên là đúng rồi. Cái lần review thứ 2 cần phải là 3 ngày sau đó. 10 ngày sau đó, và 30 ngày sau đó, và 90 ngày sau đó. Và cứ phải những cái missed word là nó cứ rụng dần đi, nhưng mà ít nhất là cái first review và second review là cái mà chúng ta maybe là có thể control được. Tất nhiên là có thể là không một lớp, nhưng mà mình có, bây giờ mình có group hoặc Zalo các thứ, hoặc là nếu mà mình có learning management system thì quá tuyệt vời, nhưng mà mình có thể nhắc các bạn ấy rồi để học, hoặc là có những cái chương trình với nhau Quizlet thì nhắc các bạn ấy học. Còn nếu mà các bạn ấy không học thì bó tay thôi, mình không thể nào mà push các bạn ấy làm cái việc này được. Đó. Thì để mà nhớ một từ thì ít nhất là phải có 10-15 hoặc là 20 lần gặp cái từ đó và sử dụng từ đấy thì may ra mình nhớ được. So this one is about vocabulary. Thì dạy vocabulary, cái này cũng liên quan đến một câu hỏi mà có một bạn hỏi là các bạn low level thì đối với các bạn mà lượng vocab vẫn còn thấp thì không thể nào mà các bạn ý nào mà học top down được, thế sẽ phải đi từ bottom up, và mình phải build cái lượng vocab đủ lớn thì các bạn ý mới bắt đầu có thể là đọc chủ động hơn được. Rồi, vậy thì cái việc đầu tiên là các bạn low level thì phải học vocab thôi, và mình dạy vocab và mình review vocab và mình làm mọi cách để các bạn ấy học, làm sao để các bạn nhớ được. Thì cái analytical reading hoặc là text mining này thì nghĩ là practical là real nhất, mà thành thật với nhau, mình là giáo viên, mình thành thật với nhau thì chỉ có text mining là cái post reading mà gọi là thực tế là chúng ta có thể làm ở trong một lớp học khoảng 45 phút. Đó. Đối với các bạn mà level cao hơn thì chúng ta có thể integrating the text, tức là chúng ta hỏi cái này để phát triển critical thinking. Rồi bạn đọc cái bài đấy xong thì bạn nghĩ sao về cái bài đó, bạn nhận xét gì, bạn ấy đưa writer đưa ra opinion như thế thì người ta đã dùng evidence như nào, backup như nào, backup như thế có hợp lý không, có logic không, hoặc là đấy là với cả context là ở Mỹ, ở Anh, thì ở Việt Nam cùng cái chủ đề đấy nó làm sao. Đó, thì integrating the text thì với cái cách này là có thể thực hiện trong cái thời gian là 10 phút của post reading, nhưng mà phải là các bạn trình độ cao hơn một chút xíu. Và cuối cùng mình có cái các hành động follow up activities, nó giống như là role play, debate, write letter hoặc là những cái task, thì nó rất là hay và rất là hiệu quả. Cái câu hỏi là mình có thể thực hiện được không trong cái thời gian hạn hẹp ở trên lớp, thì cái suggestion của mình đó là reading nó là a springboard, tức là đây là một cái reading, nó sẽ giới thiệu những cái khái niệm để sau đó các bạn có thể role play, debate hoặc là poster. Nhưng mà maybe là các bạn không có thời gian ở trên lớp thì các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị ở nhà, và chúng ta sẽ phải tổ chức những cái task based activity, chúng ta phải organize cái task đó cho hơn một tiết học, hoặc là có thể là sẽ phải là một cái project cuối kỳ. Đó. Thì nhưng mà cái phần reading bao giờ chúng ta cũng có thể nó giống như là input information, đúng không? Thì cái phần reading chúng sẽ chuẩn bị cho những cái phần presentation, poster ở đằng sau, ở những tiết khác, hoặc là cái tiết cuối cùng để showcase của năm học. Thì 1, 2, 3 cái activity này chúng ta có thể xài cho phần post reading. Một cái nữa mà chúng ta dùng rất nhiều đó là homework, và thì chắc chắn là phải có homework rồi. Cái mà mình muốn nói ở đây đó chính là chúng ta cần phải plan homework là một phần của cái lesson plan của mình. Và giống như là tôi làm gì ở trên lớp và sau đó after class thì mình sẽ làm cái gì. Homework should be a part of your planning together with in-class activities. So homework, it should be about, think about student competence, offer choices, and connect school, home, school, and then back to home, and then school again. So it's kind of like really long process of teaching and learning. We should not have just 45-minute lesson and then just walk away. Right? It should be like continuous learning in and out of the classroom. The next point is going to be extensive reading. For definition, then extensive would be read for pleasure. Just read for fun. Read on the topic that the student like. It can be easy and enjoyable books. So the key word here is that the student like the reading. But then, be honest together. Like, do students like reading? Anyone like have any student that say, "Oh, I love reading"? which is something we should encourage students do, because reading is super important and reading can be really, really fun. But then I don't know why, but yes, I kind of get the things why intensive reading kills the joy of reading. Yes, Sang ơi, yeah, schooling, right, kill the joy of learning. But is it too big a problem? Cái đoạn này, cái intensive reading, cái điều mà mình có thể share với mọi người đó là chỉ cần encourage các bạn ấy đọc bằng bất cứ ngôn ngữ nào, đọc tiếng Việt cũng được luôn ạ. Tại vì thực sự là mình thấy là có rất nhiều bạn đọc tiếng Việt cũng không đọc luôn. Nhưng mà vấn đề ở chỗ mà đọc, khi mà cái kỹ năng mà đọc tiếng Việt luôn á, thì đọc một quyển truyện dài thì các bạn cứ đọc là được rồi. Tại vì khi mà các bạn ấy practice reading thì các bạn ấy sẽ có cái attention, các bạn ấy luyện tập được cái khả năng đó là có thể tập trung ở trong một thời gian khá là dài. Thực ra là các bạn intensive reading ở trên lớp mình đọc 15 phút, 20 phút không đủ, không thể đủ được ạ. Các bạn đọc tiếng Việt cũng được luôn, và các bạn ấy đọc mà các bạn ấy hứng thú, các bạn ấy có thể kể lại, và lúc mà kể lại thì có thể, bây giờ mà kể lại bằng tiếng Anh quá khó, nhưng mà có thể vẽ một cái poster, trong đó có vẽ và có chữ và có hình, chữ thì ít chút thôi, bằng tiếng Anh thì thế là được rồi, còn ít còn hơn là nhiều, đúng không? Ít chút còn hơn là không có gì, đúng không? Thì mình sẽ highly recommend là gọi là cổ vũ cái văn hóa đọc. Ở trên lớp thì mình không thể làm được nhiều, nhưng mà chúng ta có các student club và một lý do nào đó mà các bạn học sinh tham gia ở các câu lạc bộ học sinh hứng thú hơn rất là nhiều với việc là học trên lớp với cô. Thì tất nhiên là cái việc student club nó không phải là việc của giáo viên mình, mà chúng ta cũng có thể recommend, kiểu mình làm kiểu giới thiệu, hoặc là mình giúp đỡ các student club, các book club của các bạn ấy, thì nó cũng hiệu quả được phần nào. Rồi có một cái lý thuyết về graded material, tức là các bài đọc nó sẽ được chia ra các level, và tương ứng với các level thì các bạn ấy sẽ có tìm cái level phù hợp với mình và đọc. Thì Oxford có cái bộ Oxford Discovery. Ngoài những cái quyển sách core book ra thì các bạn ấy có những cái bộ sách, những cái câu chuyện mà các bạn ấy có label dán nhãn là cái level này nó phù hợp với bạn nào, level này quyển này nó phù hợp với level nào, thì mình cũng có thể giới thiệu cho các bạn ấy để đọc thêm. Nhưng mà cái này nó thường là nằm bên ngoài lớp học và giáo viên mình rất là khó control. Tuy nhiên là mình nghĩ là giáo viên chúng ta cũng có thể khuyến khích, và nếu mà có thể là có thể tổ chức các câu lạc bộ nhỏ nhỏ để các bạn thực sự hứng thú, các bạn ấy tham gia. Cuối cùng sẽ là một cái ý là về blending giữa intensive và extensive. Đó là intensive là sẽ phải đọc và tập trung và trả lời câu hỏi, và phải có các task, đúng không? Comprehension question. Còn extensive là chỉ có enjoy, having fun thôi, mà chúng ta có thể kết hợp cái đó vào với nhau. Mình có thể select, đã có nghiên cứu về cái activity này, đó là cái bạn giáo viên đó, bạn ấy chọn select cái text, và giáo viên là người chọn cái material đó, và có thể là không phải là một cái text mà có thể có 10 cái text chẳng hạn, và học sinh có thể chọn 3 trong 10 hoặc là 5 trong 10 cái text đó, xem là cái nào mình hứng thú nhất thì các bạn đọc và sau đó là sẽ có những cái comprehension question, có mind the text, có follow up activities, và các bạn ý phải đọc bên ngoài giờ học, tại vì không thể nào mà có đủ thời gian để mình làm mọi thứ được. Thì phải đọc bên ngoài giờ học, follow các câu hỏi và các bước ở phía sau đó, và sau đó là có thể có thời gian share với cả giáo viên, với các bạn khác, và nếu có thời gian thì showcase ở trên lớp. Đấy là những cái activity mà giáo viên mình có thể làm. Okay, let's go to the last part. Kind of, I would just like to ask you guys about, in your opinion, what does it mean by lesson? What does lesson mean in your opinion? What does planning in your opinion? And what does lesson planning mean? What would it be? Anyone? What do you mean by a lesson? The lesson is like a 45 minutes that you have to be present in the class. How about planning? What does it mean by planning? It's like Mr. Sun is kind of like, you know, you are blinking, but I cannot hear any sound. Is it because of anyone else? You can say it in Vietnamese. Come on, I just switched between Vietnamese and English, and everybody should do it. Tại chúng ta là những người làm cùng nghề đúng không ạ? Thì cái này chủ yếu là chia sẻ đúng không ạ? Lesson ạ, 45 phút đúng không ạ? 45 phút chúng ta có mặt ở trên lớp là being a boss đúng không ạ? Mình nói gì là học sinh làm theo. Is it a lesson? Hay là lesson còn vượt qua 45 phút đó nữa? Nào, còn planning thì sao ạ? Plan, hành động plan là gì ta? Chúng ta có một cái goal đúng không? Chúng ta có objectives và chúng ta lên kế hoạch làm sao để mà chúng ta đạt được cái mục tiêu cuối cùng đó. Các bước mà chúng ta dự đoán những khó khăn, chúng ta sẽ dự đoán tình hình, chúng ta xem xét đánh giá tình hình và chúng ta lên một cái plan. Cái hành động lesson planning của chúng ta sẽ làm là đầu giờ học và trước khi mà vào tiết, và chúng ta sẽ lên kế hoạch là các bước. Đầu tiên mình làm cái gì, sau đó mình làm cái gì, mình làm cái đó trong vòng bao nhiêu lâu và nhằm đạt được mục đích là cái gì. Ok. Thì nói thật với cả một là giáo viên, chúng ta có plan lesson. Mọi người plan lesson làm sao ạ? Ở đây chắc là chúng ta cũng có những cô giáo đã dạy được 1 năm, 10 năm, và cũng có một số bạn là đang học sư phạm. Không biết là những người mà các thầy cô giáo lâu năm và các bạn là mới đi dạy có plan lesson cách khác nhau không ạ? Phải thư giơ tay à? Nhưng mọi người giơ tay mà mình không biết nhìn ở đâu hay là ok. Yeah.
Em thì em có lên lesson, nhưng mà sau mỗi buổi dạy thì em sẽ phải nhìn lại cái lesson plan mà em đã plan coi cần edit gì không.
Dạ rồi. Yes. Giống như là giáo viên mình cũng giống học sinh đúng không ạ? Có before với while với after. Dạ rồi. Có Thảo Vi ạ. Thảo Vi ơi.
Dạ em thông thường thì là em cũng có lên lesson plan đó cô. Trước mỗi buổi giảng dạy em sẽ lên lesson plan. Cái lesson plan của em nó dựa vào nhiều yếu tố. Thông thường thì nó sẽ là độ tuổi của học sinh. Em sẽ có một cái list những cái activity mà tụi con nó thích được tham gia, thì là tùy theo lứa tuổi và tùy theo cái cấp độ cũng như là cái kêu bằng cái characteristic của cái lớp đó mà em lựa chọn ra những cái activity phù hợp để mà đáp ứng được cái objective của cái bài đó.
Dạ. Vi cho mình hỏi thêm là Vi sẽ bắt đầu với cả học sinh đúng không ạ? Mình sẽ xem là học sinh thích gì, cần gì, đã biết gì, cần biết thêm gì. Thế còn sau đó thì còn cái nội dung ở trong sách thì sao ạ? Mình sẽ có xem được cái nội dung ở trong sách.
Dạ có chứ, không mà tại vì em dạy là em sẽ đi theo cái scope of sequence ở trong sách, cho nên là tất nhiên là đầu tiên là phải nhìn coi là trong sách hôm nay là dạy bài gì trước. Xong rồi sau đó thì mới là lựa chọn ra những cái hoạt động phù hợp để mà dạy cái bài trong sách này sao cho học sinh nó hiểu.
Vậy là thực tế thì là chúng ta nhìn vào material trước, mình nhìn vào sách trước. Sau đó chúng mình quay lại là xem học sinh, và sau đó quay ngược lại material xem là kiểu thêm bớt cắt hay là modify cái gì. Yes. Thì thực ra là chúng ta mỗi người sẽ có một cái cách khác nhau để mà làm những cái lesson plan, thực sự là tùy thuộc vào lớp. Những cái activity ví dụ như vừa rồi mình có chia sẻ là scavenger hunt, tức là cái activity này, lớp này nó rất là active, lớp này rất là enjoy, Nhưng cùng cái activity này vẫn là cá nhân mình như vậy, vẫn là mình như vậy, cái energy mình nghĩ là cũng giống hết luôn. Sẽ bưng sang một cái lớp khác, bạn ấy hoàn toàn có thể kiểu cô ơi tại sao lại phải đứng lên, mình ngồi im mình vẫn đọc được mà, tại sao lại kiểu phải kiểu đứng lên và chạy lòng quăng nó quá mệt. Thế thì characteristic của student thực sự là nó là một cái yếu tố ảnh hưởng tới những cái gì mà mình cần phải lên kế hoạch. Và thực ra là mình dạy nhiều thì mình sẽ biết, đúng không ạ? Mình cùng dạy một cái lớp, cái khối, một cái độ tuổi đó, năm giống như là Thư có nói, năm mình plan cái activity đó mà fail thì mình phải reflection lại, và next time thì mình phải sửa, hoặc là mình sẽ phải nhìn vào học sinh để xem là cái bạn đấy lớp này nó có thể thích cái activity kiểu này, nhưng mà cái lớp khác nó có thể là sẽ enjoy cái activity kiểu khác. Rồi thì cái final takeaway messages mà mình muốn đưa ra cuối cùng, cái này là từ kinh nghiệm cá nhân thôi, cái này hoàn toàn là chia sẻ cá nhân. Một là chúng ta sẽ có một cái class routine across the course, thì cái này nó sẽ đảm bảo được là, một là giáo viên mình sẽ luôn luôn biết được là mình có một cái gọi là safe play, của cái kế hoạch an toàn, mở thân kết. Nếu mà cái khóa học đấy của chúng ta mà tập trung vào việc ôn thi chẳng hạn, thế thì cái việc mà cái basic procedure for intensive reading thì cái đó nó sẽ lặp đi lặp lại, đúng không ạ? Nhưng mà nếu cái khóa học đấy của chúng ta mà nó tự do và thoải mái hơn, với cả cái level học sinh nó cao hơn, thế thì chúng ta sẽ hướng tới những cái activity giống như là draw mind map. Mà nếu mà cả một cái khóa học, cả học kỳ 3 tháng mà chúng ta chỉ draw mind map đúng một lần thôi, cái này ấy, thì các bạn ấy không kể kiểu lần đầu nó sẽ là rất là chật chối ấy. Đặc biệt là nếu mà các bạn ấy đây lần đầu tiên bạn ấy làm nữa thì các bạn sẽ kiểu cô bảo draw mà draw làm sao. Thế thì nếu mà mình xác định được là cái lớp đấy của mình là trình độ ổn, là các bạn đọc khá đấy, trình độ ok đó, nếu chỉ có làm intensive thì các bạn ấy sẽ chán, các bạn ấy sẽ, với cả các bạn ấy đã vượt qua được cái khả năng mà đọc xong trả lời câu hỏi rồi, thì chúng ta có thể nhận cái routine của chúng ta sẽ có thể là chuyển sang cái transferring information như thế này, mà chúng mình cũng sẽ cần phải 5-6 buổi. Và những cái buổi khác thì chúng ta có thể add on thêm vào, và chúng ta vẫn phải có prepare for the exam, và chúng ta vẫn có những cái hoạt động fun kiểu như là collaborative reading activities. Thì chúng ta xác định một cái routine cả một cái khóa học, nhưng mà sau đó ngoài ra thì chúng ta có những cái surprise for the student. Có thể cái buổi học đó chỉ là tập trung vào việc là having fun, build background knowledge cho các bạn ấy thôi, chứ không thực sự là tập trung vào kỹ năng reading. Thì đấy là cái số 1. Cái số 2 đó là planning is both backward and forward looking. Chúng ta có cả một cái khóa học, và ngoài reading ra mình còn có listening, mình có writing và mình có speaking. Thì reading nó có thể là chuẩn bị input cho cái lesson tiếp theo, đó là về speaking chẳng hạn. Thế thì chúng ta không thể nào mà chỉ có 45 phút xong là xong. Đó, mình có thể nhìn trước nhìn sau. Chúng ta còn là homeschool đó, chúng ta dạy nhưng mà ở nhà các bạn ấy làm gì, cái đấy cũng vô cùng là quan trọng. Thế thì planning is both backward and forward looking. Thực ra là đầu năm học mình sẽ phải dành mấy ngày để nhìn xuyên suốt xem là cả cái học kỳ đấy mình sẽ phải làm cái gì, tiết nào là tiết đặc biệt, và tiết nào và những cái phần còn lại là mình chỉ tập trung vào là exam practice chẳng hạn. Thì bây giờ nền giáo dục nhà mình là exam focus thì mình cũng phải đi theo dòng nước thôi, đúng không ạ? Thế thì mình vẫn phải làm những cái việc đó, nhưng mà cũng có những cái lesson mà mình xóa đi một tí, enjoy hơn. Cái số 3 đó là having a plan B, luôn luôn có một cái gì đó backup để nhỡ hôm đấy nó fail, hay là có một cái vấn đề gì đó xảy ra trong lớp. Học tiếng Anh nhưng mà trước đó là môn toán là thi giữa kỳ, ra các bạn ấy chẳng có một cái hứng thú nào mà học hẳn cái môn tiếng Anh của mình hết luôn. Thế thì với cái thôi thì mình cũng phải lựa mà mình giảm bớt đi những expectation của giáo viên mình. Ý số 4 là prepare for the magic moments and be ready to change your plan to take advantage of those. Những cái magic moment này là những cái moment mà mình không thể nào plan được. Đó là những cái moment mà các bạn ý đúng cái topic đó và các bạn ý muốn chia sẻ. Nó rất là fun và có thể là rất là emotional, và đấy là những cái magic moment mà mình không thể nào mà quên được. Đó có thể là một bạn ở trong lớp mà bạn ấy đã chia sẻ về ngày xưa mà bạn ấy đã từng bị bully như thế nào khi mà mình nói về internet saving, kiểu safety in the internet, thì bạn ấy đã từng nói là bạn ấy bị bully on the internet. Và những cái moment đấy, cách mà mình reaction đó, hoặc là những cái moment mà các bạn ấy hứng lên, các bạn ấy hát rất là hát và hoặc là bày trò, là những cái moment đấy là những cái moment mà cả cô và trò sẽ không thể nào mà quên được. Mình có thể quên là mình có thể là các bạn ấy chả nhớ những cái bài học của mình đâu, mà các bạn ở trong lớp bày trò hề, hát hoặc là share những cái câu chuyện với nhau, thì đấy là những cái mà mình có thể là phải dừng lại, bỏ cái bước tiếp theo ở trong cái lesson plan của mình đi, để mà make room cho những cái magic moment như thế. Nhưng mà mình sẵn sàng để mình make room. Và tất nhiên là có những cái problematic moments mình sẽ phải giải quyết nó, và vì giải quyết những cái vấn đề như thế nên là bước tiếp theo có thể là mình sẽ phải bỏ đi, hoặc là lược bớt, hoặc là giảm, cắt ngắn thời gian. Nhưng mà những cái magic moment hay là những cái problematic moments này là những cái mình nghĩ là những cái moment mà define gọi là cái career của chúng ta. Và cuối cùng giống như là Thư nói, chúng ta làm xong mà chúng ta sẽ có reflect on what worked well and what don't, and learn our lesson, and we just improve our lesson. We understand our student more, and then we improve our lesson to the better, and then we just hope for more magic moments to happen. And that is the end of my sharing. Thank you very much for your patience and listening to me. Any question, you can just we got our information here from Miss Huyen and then me. And we got the number, the phone, the email. If you got any question, you can just raise the question now, or you can just email us later.
Cái thầy cô cứ bật loa nói đi ạ. Dạ, mình bật loa mình nói lần.
All right. Hello, Miss Han, Miss Queen. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the presentation about reading. Actually, I think I gained, no, not gain, but regain a lot of previous knowledge that I've learned from university from this talk. Is very, it helps me recall a lot what I have learned, and maybe systematically forget as well. Okay. So actually, I will be frank, because I'm a reading researcher. So I do really care about reading and how can we change the situation or the scenario of reading classes in Vietnam. Because so far we can see that we have tried a lot of things to make reading funnier, to make reading more communicative, even to make reading less pressure for the students. But still, they hate reading. They still avoid reading at any cost if they can. So it's really a puzzle for us to solve. So Nanan, the theory, the researcher that have been cited in your presentation is actually on the other side of me, because I'm on question side. So that's why I question a lot about intensive reading and extensive reading. For sure, we know that intensive reading focuses more on comprehension, and extensive reading focuses more on fluency and enjoyment. But still, I think it would be amiss if we don't talk about the linguistic effects, the language effects of extensive reading on students' learning. Because still, if students need to get the information from the text, if they want to enjoy the text, they need to understand it first. And as a very natural process, when students reach a certain level of their language performance, they will move further and further. They won't choose books that have simplified text anymore, right? So if students are exposed to extensive reading for a long enough period of time, probably their comprehension ability and their vocabulary as well will automatically and naturally be acquired without much pressure, without much force and homework and tasks to do. All they need to do is to enjoy their learning by reading. So why don't we promote extensive reading in the classroom?
I
that's
do
the
read.
question. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, because I follow Crescent for some reading as well. So I'm really interested in the topic. So I also do some other extensive reading on this topic. And for what I understand, the thing is that firstly in Vietnam it is exam oriented, and then because of that exam culture, then we just don't have time. Like teachers, we have already done so much work, and to be honest, if we take one more burden of extensive reading, then it would a whole lot of things to do. And the second one, I believe that extensive reading it is certainly very much effective. And Krasana, remember he's saying that it is the only way for a really true learning progress. But then the thing is that for younger students, I mean primary school student, I believe that we already got quite enough graded material, books and story for them to read on. And they find interesting, kind of like fairy tales and like simple story, like and then we can encourage extensive reading for younger students. I think that is the job of primary school teachers, like super important on that one. But then for older students, like once they pass teenage age and they don't find the fairy tales interesting anymore, then they would need something authentic, something related. But then graded material that interests teenager haven't been available much yet. So that is the problem. They don't find the text interesting, and then they don't yet. They haven't got the reading skill yet, and then so it just add up like more problem. But one thing that is maybe a bless, that is older student, they have that kind of risk, they have that, they have logical thinking. They know that English is important for career, like making more money. So for that extrinsic motivation, then they would probably pay effort in learning, and that is through intensive reading. So far, that is what I have been reading about.
Okay. So next comes my argument. The first thing is that we talk about exam oriented. Actually, there are so many research talking about comparing the effect of intensive reading and extensive reading, where in the intensive reading class, students receive a lot of strategies learning, vocabulary learning, and so on, something like that. And for a class where students only enjoy reading books, having some discussion about a book that they read, share with each other about their favorite characters and something such like. And after a year, the vocabulary gains and even reading comprehension ability of students in the extensive reading class are significantly outperform their intensive reading peers. So from research perspective, Nunnan theory is one of the most outdated so far I have seen, because there's no empirical support for that kind of theory. But for Crescent, still 40 years later, 2021, Lichman and Van Puwen still have published one kind of empirical check for Crescent theory, and they are still true. They said that he's still true about his theory. That's the first point for exam. So if we do promote extensive reading in the right way and for a long enough period of time. That should be the key, because if it's too short, then the effect would be very blurry. But if you can carry it out like during the whole school year, then you will see the difference. The second part, we're talking about the interest. If extensive reading allows students a lot of choices in the materials are still boring to them, how can intensive reading be more interesting? Do you think when you provide a student the texts in the textbook, they do like it? I don't think so. Because for extensive reading, you have more choices. If they don't like that book, they just drop it and choose another one, right? And not only graded readers, there are a lot of teen fictions, novels are available. The problem, I think, so far is that we don't have enough book and materials. That's the problem. It's not about the material itself, it's about our condition. So the book flip project is what am I going to do in the next school year? And I hope that if it's successful, I will probably make a report on that to share with you all about how we can really implement extensive reading in the classroom. But I do believe that, yeah, because so far in a reading class, we don't spend a lot of time on reading. We spend a lot of time on reading and communication. But I don't believe, I don't really believe in letting students produce language when they do not have enough input. I don't believe in such kind of theory. Like, okay, so we have already learned about festival. Now talk about the festival in your country. How many students can really do it with a very limited text and amount of words in the reading in the textbook, right? So even when they can't produce it, it's not because of our reading. It's not because of the lesson that we deliver. It's because of the input they get somewhere else. It's not our credit anymore, right? So that's my concern. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sheng. Okay, your method is for the research, and I quite agree with you that extensive reading is very important. However, to tell the truth, according to our policy, I mean the country's policy, so the focus of our webinar today is for teachers who are teaching at public school, high school. So just in 45 minutes, and then what's the learning outcomes that the school wants the teacher have to do on that lesson. So I'm afraid that we cannot apply extensive reading like the whole class you just mentioned. With research, we can do so. Like I'm teaching at International University, and I also teach intensive English classes. I can do that. I can assign them the kind of project that they can do together. I can create the book club for you, the reading club for you, because we have time. Okay, we have long period of time. But for, I mean, teachers who teach at high school and secondary school in our country, then they need to focus on the content on that day, the skills on that day, and they have to make sure that the student can, I mean, pass the exam at the end of the semester. So it is a really challenging task for them. However, I quite agree with you that we, the teacher, can create, I mean, interesting atmosphere in intensive reading class. By what Ms. Ha just mentioned, we can create some collaborative activity in the wide reading stage. We can create some type of interactive activity like the jigsaw reading that Ms. Ha just mentioned. There, they can also figure out the enjoyments, knowledge, okay, not just the reading inside the textbook, okay? So now in the textbook, we learn about this one, this one, this one. Now I provide you some more material related to festival and celebration in Vietnam, and we will have the jigsaw reading activity, and there they can widen the knowledge, they can have more vocabulary as you mentioned. But just some kind of integration. We cannot replace that for the setting of, the public school in Vietnam. And also why we don't focus much on the extensive reading today, because the focus of our webinar today is how to, plan a reading lesson for high school teachers. Okay, thank you for understanding. Okay, any more questions, please? Yes, I appreciate extensive reading. It's quite interesting. I also apply that in my university for extensive classes. Also, I teach English Linguistics students in my university. And for reading 1 and reading 2 classes, I also use extensive reading. However, it is really difficult for high school teacher to apply that for every lesson in their, syllabus.
But then, like, if I don't know if we got any primary school teachers here. If we do, like, I hope you do it. Like primary school teachers, Oxford got a great series of extensive reading. So if you can do it and build up, the skill from primary, secondary, high school, and they just they're gonna get the skill and then bring it with them across the level, and it's just amazing, and it's easier job for English teachers on high school level maybe. So, but it is I think it's gonna be easier and more effective if we can do it on a younger student as well. Not just wait until they were like in high school or university. It's too late already.
We can apply that in primary school. Okay. Nursery school too, for some kind of small story. They really enjoy that. Like they learn about animals, and then there should be some just small description about animals, so they can choose any kind of animals that they like to read, and then they can compare that with the other friends in the class who like the other kinds of animals. It works, sure. Yeah, more enjoyment and extensive than intensive. But again, I want to emphasize that we can also create enjoyment for intensive reading in class. It's the art of the teacher.
Right, yeah, we got to juggle a lot. Like we got to think about school and admin and exam, and then we got the improve, and we were like,
yeah.
Thank you very much. It was great talk.
Okay.
Let's see each other. Thank you to everybody else. I think like we were kind of like, the real audience was.
Any more questions, please?
We got like 11 more participants, and then 4 was like us. And then so we got like 7 more of like other teachers. Okay. I think we can finish our webinar here today. Thank you everybody again one more time. Thank you very much for spending your time. Goodbye.
Dạ rồi, em cảm ơn mọi người. Bye mọi người. Thank you for today. Thank you Miss Hà. Thank you Thùy.
Bye bye.